Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and Star Trek Stream Saturday. Sorry we're a bit late, but here we are. Happy to be here, and we've got Skep, Irate, and Hammer with me so far, and hopefully Dax and Polly will join us in a bit. How are you guys?
Hopefully Dax will.
Greetings.
Yeah, doing well.
That's good.
You sound like you're still asleep, Skep. You okay?
No, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. You smell toast there, bro?
What's that? What? I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't either.
I said, did you smell toast there, bro?
Did I smell
toast?
Yeah.
Smell the toast?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a reference to having a stroke. You know?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah. No, I haven't had a stroke. I haven't had a stroke.
Not yet.
At least not today.
Not today.
I got one planned this afternoon, though.
I actually have had a stroke. And,
really?
Yeah, they're not fun. It's not a fun thing. It's so funny too. They won't call it a stroke. You know, I literally drove myself to the hospital because I found a hospital. I had a stroke and I was on my way to work. It actually happened in stop and go traffic in Dallas, Texas. And we were stopped on a freeway. And I had what they called a cerebrovascular event occur. And I went to sleep in my car. My foot slipped off the brake. And I had a low speed collision with the helicopter-based paramedic in the pickup trunk in front of me.
Thank God he was a paramedic, though.
Well, but listen to the rest of the story. So he says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm just tired." I remember saying that to him. I don't really remember what else happened, but somehow I was back in my car. I guess we must have exchanged insurance stuff because I had written all his insurance stuff down. Yeah. I don't remember doing this. And I didn't go to work. I started driving around that part of Dallas. And then I started driving around North Dallas. And then I eventually headed over to Arlington, and I began to recognize some of the streets. I couldn't tell their names. I couldn't have told you their names, but I knew I was in territory that was familiar to me. I found a hospital, and I walked in there, and I said, "I think something has happened to me." And I described the symptoms, and they said, "We think you've had a stroke."
Oh, wow.
And they hooked me up, and fortunately, having a job at the time, I had medical benefits, so they were able to diagnose it and all that stuff. I spent 4 days in the hospital.
That's scary shit.
Yeah. So strokes are real. And I did not smell toast. But
I thought that was a seizure thing.
I forgot a lot of shit.
That's just a joke.
Yeah, I missed a lot of stuff that went on in those 4 days. I couldn't remember people visiting me and stuff like that.
It's kind of a meme, like around the YouTubers.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the paramedic didn't recognize fast.
He wanted to get to work. Is what I heard later on. Wow. I actually contacted the guy later on and told him what happened, and he felt terrible. That's exactly what he said. He said, "Man, he said, you acted so normal." And I just thought, oh, this guy just got up, he fell asleep on the way to work. No big deal. He said, "You were totally rational, very businesslike, very squared away." I didn't think anything more about it.
Wow.
It's amazing. And I was told, I don't even remember really much of that. I remember getting out of the car, and I remember talking to the guy briefly, but I don't remember taking the information or anything else. I had it all written down.
Wow.
Yeah, amnesia is weird. Anyway, we're here to talk about Star Trek, not about the harbingers of Skeptalk's imminent demise.
Yes, we are.
Look at it this way. You'll be able to replace me with Undoomed if I kick the bucket. So
let's talk more about Skep's mind.
So today's oh god, it's the damn dolphin again. So today we're talking about my 3 picks
Yes.
for Deep Space Nine. And I picked actually an episode from season 1, which I rarely do for the later series, which is Q-less because it's Q.
Right.
And there were also some things that I liked about the episode. And then there's the Defiant, which I will get to why I like that as well. And then Facets, which I think is a fascinating episode. Anyway, so we're gonna pretend I didn't just do that.
It went by a little fast for me.
So we're gonna start with Q-less, which is season 1, episode 6 of Deep Space Nine, and it centers around the fact that for some reason Deep Space Nine is starting to spiral into the wormhole, which is never a good thing. You don't want that to happen. You kind of want to stay in orbit around that thing if you're a space station.
Yeah, because it will tear you into baseball-sized debris pieces if you go through the wormhole. It's a bad thing. And
of course, Cisco. Well, at first, the whole first opening scene is that there's, O'Brien and I think it's Kira, or no, it might be Dax. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. They're awaiting the return of the Ganges from the Gamma Quadrant, and all of a sudden, out pops Vash from TNG, right? And
Picard squeeze.
Yeah, exactly. Picard's little, and then you go, wait a minute, she was with Q. Oh boy, like you, and I love how they did that. They didn't even need to have Q show up right away.
Yeah,
to tell you that this was a Q episode. I thought that was cool, because if you were a fan of both, like if you were a TNG person coming into Deep Space Nine and you see Vash, you're like, okay, we've got Vash and we've got Q.
I think you missed something.
Oh, you did.
This is something for sighted people. I just realized, because you see Q in the opening moments of the episode.
Oh, do you? He's visible. And, okay.
Yeah. He's
after everybody leaves the Ganges, he's a technician working on the outside of the ship.
Exactly. The technician turns into Q on the outside, and there's no dialogue, there's no nothing. And I remember when I saw that, I thought, I wonder if Blind Press has something that describes that scene to her, so that she can see that, because that's where you're introduced. This episode's going to be about Q.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I'm kind of going by the title.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, it's how in TNG Q usually comes in with a bang.
Yes.
This is more of a it's more of his sneaky Q.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely
Loki-esque.
Well, he's also, sometimes he's a protagonistic antagonist.
Yeah.
Here he's much more like a co-star.
Mm-hmm.
His role, Vash has a big antagonistic role that's easily as big as Q's.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of stuff going on where it feels very evenly parceled out between the players. This is not one of those Q episodes that's all about Q. Q provides some interesting parts to it, some key parts to it, obviously, but it's about Vash, and about how and it's also a lot about greed and avarice and things like that. And I love the auction, by the way.
Yes,
I just that was probably my favorite scene in the whole thing, was the look on his face when he says 2,500 Latinum.
Well, because what Skep was talking about is Vosh, like one of the very first things she does when she gets to Deep Space Nine is finds out where to sell all the shit she has, right?
Which of course is at the bar.
Which is of course at Quark's,
right?
And Quark knows a good bargain /
business opportunity.
Business opportunity, as well as attractive female when he sees one. But I don't think he's quite ready for Vosh, which I really enjoyed watching, because usually Quark is the conniver of Deep Space Nine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Odo ends up foiling him a good bit, but to have somebody that's basically a stranger to the station come in and rattle Quark the way Vosh did was really funny to watch. I really enjoyed watching that.
Me too.
And she can manipulate him well.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if she really rattled him, but she certainly could make him do anything she wanted him to do.
Yeah.
But that's true, I think, of her with anybody. I mean, she didn't. I think Picard was not quite the challenge to her that Picard would be to any other woman. She could handle Picard.
It's the power of Umox, though, when it comes to
power of Umox.
It's Quark.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the kind of there's some Umox going on in these in
the Jadzia does it too. You know.
Yeah.
In another episode, we're going to
I wonder if we ever see Nog like doing himself.
I wonder if
my ears are sore, Dad.
I wonder if young Ferengi males do give themselves I
think it's one of those kind of things where you can't tickle yourself. I don't know. There's some kind of medical thing where if your mind knows that you're the one moving your fingertip across the side of your body or flank of your body, that you can't
tickle
be
yourself.
Tickled, or the bottom of your feet. Some reason you can't tickle your own, but somebody else does.
Well, it's because it's unexpected and out of your control and all that kind of stuff.
Guess.
You know? But I don't think this is necessarily as close to tickling as another phenomenon that teenage boys don't.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of where I was.
And that's it. My memory of that is it worked pretty well.
Expand that to teenagers and not just boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny.
So there's two plots here. One of them is, why is the space station falling into the wormhole? And why is Q on the space station? And is he responsible for the space station spiraling into the wormhole? And of course, because Sisko has, like any commanding officer in Starfleet, has read Picard's reports on Q, right? He's not entirely pleased that Q is on board his station. And this gets us to my absolute favorite scene in this episode, which is the argument between Sisko and Q in on the promenade, where Q conjures up a boxing match type scenario. And he's egging Sisko on, and Sisko actually punches Q.
BTFOs him.
Yeah, he punches Q he
knocks him down.
He does. You can hear him fall.
You hit me.
God would never hit me that hard.
Picard never hit me. I'm not Picard.
That's a great line too. Yeah,
the look on Sisko's face when he connects and Q falls. They tight in on his face, and his face kind of like, well, you asked for that, you're gonna get it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I like this in the first season how they there was a rapid kind of rhythmic character development, right?
Mhm.
You have these intertwined people, you catch up, and so it's never the same two people, which is, I think, made it very interesting. I like this series. Every time I watch it.
Q has a great quality about him that you don't see. He is Loki. He is mischievous, but he's more of an imp than you would see for like the Marvel version of actual Loki.
Right.
He's more of an evil deceiver, where Q is more of a let's find a way to screw with you a bit, as opposed to just deceive you and make you do something wrong. It almost becomes something you can anticipate, that he's like, Q, we should do this more in private. So instead of moving them to an area where they can be private, he gets rid of everyone else on the station.
Yeah.
Right.
And you get to the point where you're like, watch what he does here. I bet he's going to remove everyone else from the station. Sure enough, he does, because he's made that character so clear about how he's going to react to statements like that. Picard says, we don't need your help. And as soon as Picard says, we don't need your help, Q, or Vosh says, I can do this myself, Q, something's coming.
Yeah.
Because that's how Q's going to react. So, yeah, I like the fact that he's more of an impish character than a true Loki character would be.
Especially in this episode.
Yes.
And it was well balanced, I thought. And like what you were saying, his involvement in the story, he kept coming in and, helping piece things together, but still being, antagonistic. It was very well done.
Yeah.
And
I like Delancey. I think he's a good actor.
And I like they only made one Q episode.
Yeah. It would. Well, that's gonna when we get around to talking more about that part. That's one of the downfalls I have for this episode. But it's not to go back to what I was saying. It's not the fact that he can't be cruel. Obviously, when he ages Vosh, that was hard to watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a pretty girl and a good actress, and to see her just feeble-eyed like that, it's kind of like, damn, Q, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
So it's not like he can't be a bad guy, but he is not just a bad guy. He is also
one thing about that scene too, that actually I found a little bit disappointing, was you didn't get any reaction from her to being aged and stricken down, basically, like that. She should have come up and been mad as hell, or threatening, or contemptuous, or crying, or and all you got was she just kind of stares at the floor and walks out of the scene, and you kind of go,
she knows Q pretty well. She knows that this is probably going to be a temporary thing. He's not going to leave her like that.
Yeah.
But even so, given her character, you expect her to react. I
have a feeling he's done worse to her.
Probably.
I couldn't let it go. So anyway.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they had Beverly react so angrily to being turned into a dog.
As soon as you said Beverly, I immediately laughed because I knew where it was going.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great scene.
That was a great scene.
That was a great scene. Because not only is it Beverly, but he keeps the red hair theme going because the red hair, and the dog is an Irish setter. It's a red coat of fur. So it's funny that again, the impishness of him. He didn't just make her, a dachshund or something like that. He actually made her a something with long red hair.
Yeah.
Of course, there are red dachshunds.
Yeah.
Dachshund fancier, I have to say.
Yeah, they're typically brown.
Yeah, they're reddish brown, but they call them reds in the dachshund business.
You heard me laugh when you said when Beverly. I immediately laughed. I was like, I know it's coming. So
yeah. Yeah. Boy.
Prospero says Q has always reminded me of a slightly more mature Squire of Gothas. He is a brat.
Well, that's the rumors that the Squire of Gothas was a Q.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been around the circuit for quite a long time. Not necessarily just fan fiction, but there's been a lot of writers who said, well, that was kind of where we were going, blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of rumor around the people who write for the show that part of Gothos, his parents were true Q people.
Right. And the Squire, is one of the most popular episodes of the series. I would argue, of the TOS.
Mostly because of the actor.
Yeah. And I wonder, it could be Roddenberry who just loved that character. You know how people get attached to certain characters.
Yeah.
Writers and shit, producers.
So have we gone over the good parts? Because I want to voice a bad part.
Yes, I'd like to hear what some of you guys thought about the episode. So let's start with Hammer.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say let them go first. The problem I had with this is I definitely like the callback to TNG. That was awesome. My problem is too many callbacks to TNG. To say it once, maybe twice, but when it starts to be 3, 4, because it's on the shuttlecraft, it's with Q and Cisco. It's again in her quarters. There's a constant Picard this, Picard that, Picard this, and then O'Brien from the Enterprise. Right. It's just a little bit. It was like almost like a half DS9, half TNG episode.
And then later Worf.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just that's the only thing that really kind of was like, stop talking about TNG. We already saw that show. You're supposed to be DS9.
Yeah, we're watching the movie now.
I don't mind the callback because I mean, you see, Thomas Riker shows up on DS9. You see interaction, and that's great. But this specific episode was too much of a callback to TNG. It bothered me. Only thing that bothered me, though, considering even though that they were Ferengi and all that kind of stuff, you know how I feel about that. All things being equal, the only complaint I have is just a little too much reference. That's all.
Why is my cat being that loud? Sorry, guys. I kind of think it was their, because after they did that, they kind of stopped really talking about O'Brien became a member of DS9, right? Like it was almost like farewell TNG. This is DS9 now. Like that's how I took it, kind of thing. Kind of like a last goodbye type of deal.
O'Brien would be even a tougher sell for me because on TNG, O'Brien seemed like a pretty happy, easy go lucky kind of guy. But on DS9, he seems very brooding and unhappy. My personal opinion. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
It's Cardassians, man. Remember, he fought in the war,
right?
So that may have something to do with it, especially in the early part of the show. I don't know. That's a good question.
He didn't want to be around the Cardassian part, and then he had to. I think part of it also was because Keiko got offered a position. And
Snippet said he got married.
He got married, yeah.
That'll do it.
That's true.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. But he was married on TNG because Picard did the routine, what's the word I'm looking for? Not routine, the ceremony.
He did this episode, and that's where he got married.
Yeah, that's where Keiko got her full name. It's on that episode.
Yeah.
And so did he. I think he got Miles Edward O'Brien on that episode too. He got his full name.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What do you think about this episode?
I thought it was to put it in perspective, as to how it, came. I thought it was great. I always loved the Q character. Mm-hmm. I think John Delancey pwned that thing. I mean, from the get-go. That Southern was excellent in the role, and it was standout from the very first episode of TNG. So Yeah, it was good. I like Vash. I like the story. The one thing that I caught was the egg thing for the space butterfly thing.
Yeah.
That was that ends up being the thing that holds the power wraiths.
Really?
They use the same exact item. Yes. And I was like, oh shit, man. They were like, I was thinking they were like doing some, deep troll shit, for the end game. And I was like, no, it's a space moth.
Ah, the paw wraith.
Yeah, Mothra.
Skep, what do you think? What did you like or dislike about this?
I liked it for its it had a lot of things going on, and that really holds my interest. I like having a lot of subplots, a lot of things going on, and I also I don't much like Quark unless he's being a really, really Ferengi. That's when I like him, and he was at his most Ferengi like in this episode, and I really enjoyed the scene with the auction.
Yes, that was great.
Watching him mop his brow as the bid got to 2,500 Latinum
and
bars.
you could hear it in his voice.
Yes,
2,500 bars. And he's like, and you can hear him going, "Okay, you're the auctioneer. Calm the fuck down."
Exactly. Just keep it together. You're getting rich. Just relax. You're getting rich. So yeah, that I like that.
It's almost anti-frenetic of you.
When Q bids $1 million, I think he just stops and his mouth opens and he just stands there. He just can't comprehend.
Press Platinum.
And when you hear Q go $1 million, I just die. Yeah. I crack up.
Yeah, that was great. And then he adds, by the way, you're about to you're all going to be rendered into debris in just a few moments. I just thought I'd tell you that.
Yeah.
But carry on.
And because first, Q just knows that, he knows Ferengi. So he's just like, fuck it. $1 million.
Yeah, I'll bid $1 million,
By the way, you're all dead.
Exactly. So I like that. I also like I like Ben Sisko when he shows emotion.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets up there, he can act when he tries. And my knock on him is usually that he's a little bit too cool and too, not reactive.
Especially in the first 2 seasons.
Yes, and so seeing him let go a little bit here, and it was also fun just to see him beat the shit out of Q. I just enjoyed that. Just got a visceral pleasure out of it. I was happy about the character of Vash. Obviously, I guess it's probably hard to do much with a character like that. I mean, to really, do much development with her, because she's an interesting enough character. You could do a whole show and just write it about her.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like they explored her much. And I'm also with Hammer about the repeated call outs. I was just kind of going, yeah, okay, we get it. We know about the other series. Thanks very much. No, you're trying to get this one popular. No, you're trying for identification. Yeah. Could we shut up and watch the space opera, please?
Yeah.
And so, anyway, those were kind of some of the impressions that I had about it. But I like this episode.
It's a fun episode.
I love the ending too, when the organism swims away from DS9 and swims back into the wormhole, and the thing was an egg, and it was an organism that was trying to get back home. It was kind of a wonderful moment.
I often like those episodes where, for a while you think it's something horribly malevolent, and it turns out it's just some space traveling creature just wants to go home.
Right, exactly.
You're like, oh yeah, that's why they're out here.
E.T.'s heading home. That's it.
Kind of a counter at Farpoint-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was kind of my take on it.
So then we move on to the Defiant, which is another callback, but not as blatant. I think they did it very well. Because this episode centers around Thomas Riker. Now if you are not like a fan of TNG and you didn't watch the episode where I can't even remember the title of that episode.
First of all, die in a fire for not being a TNG fan.
Yeah, exactly. That goes without saying.
Yeah. Nice.
So there's an episode, I believe it's in season 6.
Second Chances.
Second Chances. Thank you, Skep Talk.
I had to think about that one.
It's an episode where, really quickly, because it does matter. They are checking up on an array. I think it's an array, and they run into a second William Riker. This is on TNG here. And it turns out that there was a transporter accident when Riker served on a ship called the Potemkin that split him into 2 Rikers.
It was a transporter thing.
Yeah. And this
Russian transporter.
Yeah, god damn it.
Yeah.
And
but we invented it.
Yes.
We invented it.
We invented it along with the nuclear vessels in Alameda.
In Alameda.
So
did you know that cop was not an actor?
No, I did not.
The cop in that scene who just sits there and looks at him and doesn't say anything and just sits there and looks at him and looks at him and looks at him. That's not an actor. That's a real cop.
Oh God.
Who acted that exactly that way. And they just caught it on film and kept it.
I actually did know that. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, it was a research station. Thank you, Mr. Dax.
And the girl who said, oh, I think it's over in Alameda. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the movie over and over again here. But the girl who says that, she's also not an actor.
Yeah.
She was also just a person that they caught.
That's funny.
Anyway.
That's great. So basically, long story short, at the end of this episode, second Riker takes the name of Thomas, which is William's middle name, and basically tries to make his way in Starfleet as, I guess, Riker's twin, like brother or something. I don't know.
As a guy. He would literally be his identical twin, and he would have identical DNA. I mean, he's molecularly, at the moment of his creation, he's molecularly identical.
I like him. I like him better than I like Riker.
Yeah, I like him much better than I like Riker.
This dude's a talent.
Little twin skippies are always more interesting.
Very military, dude.
Yeah.
So this episode, the Defiant, opens with what we think is William Riker coming to take a tour of Deep Space Nine.
Were any of us fooled about that?
I was, because I couldn't see it.
I absolutely was.
You were?
I absolutely was fooled.
Were you fooled?
Yeah.
You were fooled?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I did not think that was Thomas Riker.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "That's not Will." Will doesn't act like that. Will doesn't walk bent over. William Riker is always shoulders back. There's just his movements right away is what caught me. And he was a little too. Riker's a little bit more of an asshole. He really is just. He's stiff. He's a very stiff person in the show, and this guy was a little too congenial for me. He was a little like, "Oh, hi." No, that's not Will. That's not Will Riker at all.
I did see it was because I thought it was Will, but I was like, oh, maybe he's on a good day or something. Like
It would have to be, yeah.
And because I couldn't see if I could see the way he was carrying himself.
That was the first thing that tipped me off, was the way he was moving.
Yeah. I probably would have thought differently, but
interesting thing about the episode Second Chances, there was a very interesting person who had a small part on that. Lieutenant Palmer was played by someone who actually had been to space.
Oh, cool.
The astronaut Mae Jemison appeared as Lieutenant Palmer on Second Chances.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome.
It's kind of a cool bit of trivia to know.
So
she said it gave her great credibility at NASA.
I don't doubt it.
They all love TNG. They just love TNG.
Or Star Trek in general.
Yep. Yeah, Star Trek generally, right, but particularly TNG. Which, you know, when she was on, that was what was popular.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we open with what we think is William Riker looking for a tour of Deep Space Nine. And it looks like Skeptalk has a visitor.
Jesus Christ. Hang on.
It's all good.
Gotta find the right goddamn.
And so we have Kira wandering around Deep Space Nine with who she thinks is Thomas Riker. And she takes him onto the Defiant, of course. And he ends up taking the Defiant. He steals the Defiant. And as soon as that happens, first, for a split second, I went, Will defected? And then I went, wait a minute. No, that's Thomas.
Yeah.
Like that, it caught me for maybe a microsecond. And then I was like, no, that's Thomas. And if you had been, like, if you were just someone who was watching, like, who wasn't a casual watcher, or if you were just a casual watcher of TNG and may have missed that episode, you probably would have gone, what? You know, like that was, I really liked that. And so this whole episode is around finding out that Thomas basically couldn't hack it in Starfleet. That's what I took it as. He couldn't hack it in Starfleet, so he went to the Maquis.
I don't know that he couldn't hack it. That may be true. I don't think that's proved. Forgive me for interrupting you. I think that he was a guy who's looking for a cause. He's one of these guys who needs a cause, needs the stroking, the ego strokes that come from being noble. You know, he's a guy with a deep need to virtue signal, and he thought he found that in the Maquis. I didn't get the feeling that he failed at Starfleet. Just that didn't give him a chance to show off his ego, basically.
I think Will probably had a certain amount in that too, because Will was in Starfleet and he's in Starfleet. We're still doing the same thing as each other. I need to step out of that role to do something different than him, to distinguish myself from him. This is an opportunity.
That's a great point.
Exactly.
You know what I really would have loved? I know it would have ruined the whole continuity of the show and the flow of the show. Just like a 20-second scene of Will on the Enterprise getting a call.
I know where you're going with this. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been amazing.
Hey, where are you?
Yeah.
We're in the Delta Quadrant. Why? Never mind. Just wondered.
Yeah, just wondering.
Yeah. Oh God, that would have been
funny.
fantastic.
That would have been funny. It's amazing how we as fans can find stuff like that and come up with stuff like that, but the people who actually make the show don't.
Yeah.
I don't get that. That's a brilliant thing. Somebody should come up with that.
Yeah, they missed an opportunity. That's really true. They could have made a lot of people very happy.
Mr. Dax has a good point. He says, I think Thomas Riker had a bit of an identity crisis because he was a lieutenant and his doppelganger was the first officer of the flagship.
Yep.
Yeah, one is a what they call a company grade, or at least in the Army they'd call him a company grade officer, lieutenant, junior officer. Even though he's on the high end, he's lieutenant senior grade, what they call that, which is, I take to be a full lieutenant. And then the other one is not just a lieutenant commander, but a commander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Riker was a commander.
Yes,
William
he was.
Riker was a commander at that point.
Commander Riker.
And so he's, he's just going to have more prestige. He's going to, have more people kissing his ass.
And he's always going to be first.
Yeah, and that would drive
He's already got the
Thomas
head
Riker
start.
crazy.
Yeah, he's always got the head start, so Thomas is never going to catch up.
No.
Right. So he has to change the game. He has to flip the board, and we're not playing chess anymore. We're playing tag.
Which is something that Riker would do.
Yeah.
Riker, because remember, they are the same person.
Yes. And so it's consistent that way.
Like Riker would, if the game wasn't working for him, instead of quitting the game, would change the game.
Well, it makes sense because throughout TNG, they always talk about how Riker is unpredictable when he's in a fight.
Yeah.
He's always going to think outside the box and do something different. That whole idea where he used, what was it, the Sutherland, and he used a little bit of antimatter from Wesley's experiment to do a 2-second warp jump.
Oh, in the War
Picard
Games episode.
Yeah, Picard's like, what the fuck?
Oh no, Picard was because that was what the hell is that race? Zakdorns. The Zakdorn guy had this thing against Riker, and Picard's like, you just watch. Right? And Riker did that, and the guy's like, that's incredible. He's incredible. And Picard's like, he's the best. Right? He's just like, that's my boy. Right? That was so what Picard was like. Picard's just like, yes. Thank you for proving me right. But yeah, it was very consistent for Thomas to, okay, this game's not working for me. I'm going to change it now.
Change the rules, yeah. And Wikipedia Snippet has a good point. He says, like Kirk did. Kirk's the same kind of idea. You have to understand that Picard and Riker are the same person cut in half. They took the logic, the diplomat, and they made that Picard. And then took the womanizer and the guy who thinks out of the box. They made that Riker. Yeah. They did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. So
basically, we end up, of course, we get the Defiant back because we have to. But I love how Cisco is just, what, you just took him onto the Defiant. Like Cisco was just, you could tell Cisco was like, what? Wait, you just took him onto the Defiant?
Well, he's a commander.
Well, he's a commander.
Same rank as Cisco. Really?
Yeah. It was just, but it's I just love how possessive Cisco is about the Defiant.
Sarah wasn't thinking with her crotch. Things probably wouldn't have turned out that way.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt she had a thing for him.
Oh, yeah.
She flirting like crazy.
Oh, shit. My stupid... I need to figure out why my Streamlabs is not notifying me.
Why was it notifying you of?
People. Well, when I had my old iPhone, I had my PayPal and my Streamlabs notify me. So if one didn't, the other one would.
Mm.
And I've put all the apps back on my new phone and turned notifications on. But it's just not
Notifying you?
working. I don't get it. So while I'm navigating the stupid updated webpage of Streamlabs, who wants to tell me about what they liked and disliked about this episode?
I vote for Skep Talk.
Okay. Skep Talk could go first since Hammer went first last time.
Okay. What I liked and disliked about
The Defiant.
the Defiant episode, well, the thing that I like the most is it has the Defiant in it.
Yes.
And anything with the Defiant makes Skep Talk very
Well, it's
very
the Defiant. The Defiant is awesome.
Defiant kicks ass. Yes, exactly. So I just like the scenes where they were aboard the Defiant, and another scene that made me happy is when Riker looks over and smiles and shoots Kira with a phaser.
Yes.
I actually stood up and clapped my hands the first time that I saw that.
You're a little jealous?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I wish that was me.
I want to kill her too. So I really like that. And the other thing is just the whole evil twin Skippy thing, and then the semi-redemption thing that comes out at the end where he actually shows some courage and commits to spending the rest of his life in a Cardassian labor camp. To save everybody else. It is really appealing. I like the arc of the episode. I like the way it was acted. I like the evil twin Skippy. I like Kira getting phasered. Just a lot to like in this episode, and the Defiant just kicks ass. Yeah, it probably is one of my favorite episodes.
This is my favorite of the three.
Yeah. Actually, Facets is my favorite of the three, but this I liked all three of these. I think they're great choices.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but it's almost like
I can't wait to get to Facets. That's an awesome episode.
Yeah.
But I think that this is one of those pull out episodes that stand out, right? Because there's like I call them filler episodes where like they have a parenthetical or not a parenthetical, but just an isolated story that doesn't involve a lot of the rest of the characters. And this, and those tend to be weaker in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
But this one is not. This is like a Star Trek. I would say this is a Star Trek episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a flat, just whatever you want to apply it to. I would recommend it as an example, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you are making sense.
Okay. I'm just feeling a little disjointed.
And really quick, thank you, Moderator Marcy, for the $50 Streamlabs donation. That's nice. Very generous of you. She says, "Hey, I'm happy to finally catch you live. Just checking up on you to see how you're doing. Much love to you." Thank you very much, Marcy. That's very generous of you. You're awesome.
Nice.
Very nice.
Hey, Marcy.
Very classy.
And Mr. Dax, of course, says lick the smash button. Yes, please lick the smash button.
Beat that like button like a redheaded stepchild.
So that's why those are basically why I like the Defiant as well, because Riker, like for a while there, you actually do find yourself going, "You are a little shit, Thomas." and then he does redeem himself by going, no, I will go and face the music.
Yes.
And I kind of, and again, that's something Riker would do.
Yep.
Riker, say what you will about Riker, he may be an asshole, he may be stiff, but he's not a weasel.
Mm.
He never tries to get out of something that he did wrong. And I think, and I like that Thomas carried that on because, as we've all said, he's, Riker's.
Given the same situation, Will would do the same thing because he is.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
I think the things I liked about this episode, I'm not going to go into a lot because I want to get to facets as well, but it was nice to see Jonathan Frakes again.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up in Voyager as well, and I had the same feeling there. Is that it's like, oh, there's Jonathan Frakes, cool, because he plays a good character, both Thomas and William.
Did he play Thomas?
He's also on.
William.
I know he played Will Riker, but did he play Thomas also?
Yeah.
No, not in Voyager.
No. I'm talking about in this episode.
In this episode, he only plays, as far as I remember seeing Will in this episode, he only plays Thomas in this episode.
But is that Jonathan Frakes playing Thomas Riker?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He played both?
He looks just like him.
I know, he looks much alike.
He sounds just
I never
like
thought it was the same actor, though.
Wait, you're being silly, right?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. You had us worried there for a
I'll put out
moment.
some diagrams for
I'm
this.
starting to figure. I'm
You can
starting to
appreciate
figure you out,
after
dude.
the show.
Okay.
I'm starting to read your defense, brother.
So yeah, it was nice to see him. I'm not really a big fan of episodes that don't end well, especially for a main character.
Yeah.
I don't like it when Michelle Forbes ended up on the wrong side. I don't like it when Thomas Riker ended up on the wrong side, because you find out later in Voyager that everybody who used to be in the Maquis is dead. So we have a good feeling that Thomas Riker is dead.
Ensign Rowe is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just don't like episodes that end bad for somebody. So that would be my
I actually like those episodes better because it shows you that Star Trek isn't always like,
It's
there
not all
are still
rainbows
some
and unicorns.
Yeah. There are some
repercussions.
things that are going to happen.
Yeah, I don't mind a problem, having repercussions and having long-term issues and that kind of stuff. But to take a character like Thomas Riker, who could be used many more times, and just, okay, well, that's the end of this character. For no real reason. They didn't really
They could have used him
that.
as a spy.
They could have done a lot of stuff with this character. They could have done the same thing with Ensign Rowe. There's a lot of things they could have done with her. But they just kind of end the character, and it doesn't seem like it was a really good reason to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, that happens through a lot of episodes, so it's not just this one. But we can get on the facets if you want.
Yeah, so Facets is a really cool episode. And it is centered around Jadzia Dax. Who is the better Dax? Fight me. Jadzia Dax is the better Dax out of Ezri and Jadzia.
No shit.
Oh, between those two, I was thinking Curzon. I was like, I don't know. Curzon was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, but I mean, if we only get to see Jadzia, well, except we do get. This is what I like about this episode is Jadzia gets to meet all of the previous hosts through a ceremony where they basically, bind to like people, her friends, or who she asks to help her in this, and they get to basically take over the bodies of her friends or whomever she chooses to do this ceremony. So she picks I love how she ends up picking Quark for one of them. who happens to be a female. That was great. Odo gets to be B1, and we'll actually touch on that a bit more. Kira gets picked. And actually, this episode, I actually can stand Kira. She actually does a good job in this episode playing somebody else.
Yeah.
Anybody
but Kira.
Yeah.
No
and then
that says more about the actress than it does about the writing.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Give her a good role and she can do well.
So this episode is basically Jadzia learning about herself and her hosts.
Yes.
Which I thought was a really interesting way of exploring the Trill, because in TNG you get kind of this idea that Trills are sneaky. Because Beverly really got duped by Odan. Like, she really, that was kind of messed up, what he did. And for those of you who are going, what the fuck are you talking about? The first introduction we have to the Trill people is in an episode called The Host in TNG, where we have a Trill ambassador who Beverly falls in love with, and he doesn't happen to mention, oh, by the way, I have a symbiote. So it was kind of oh, hello, Dax Orion. He says he's sorry. He's like I said, he started a new job, so he literally just woke up. So he sends his apologies, and that is perfectly fine, dude. Adjusting to schedules is hard. So I really enjoyed watching this episode because it really gave all the actors a chance to shine.
Yes.
And it's really, I really thought it was cool that she chose Odo to be Curzon. That was right. She did choose Odo for Curzon, right? I'm right about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that was a good choice, but then we have a little bit of an issue where Curzon doesn't want to go back and to do the ceremony to meld everybody back together, and neither does Odo.
Well, yeah, there's a really interesting implication there, because you get the feeling that when the personalities are blended in the other people, it's like, imagine a ball pit with two different colored balls, white balls and blue and red balls. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to use the term blue balls. That's probably a bad term.
Okay. Anyway, so white wall, and so you can still differentiate them. You could easily sort them, but with Odo and Curzon, it's more like blending paint. And so you get a pink thing. You get a third personality that emerges that is part Odo, part Curzon, and all a mischievous shapeshifter. Holy shit. Sociopathy waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And Odo, without all the moralistic constraints that he puts on himself, would be a handful, shall we say?
Well, because Curzon was very much a rules. What the fuck are those?
Yeah, exactly.
and Odo is very much rules. Yes, let's have more of those.
Exactly. And so he restrains his amazing power by the social rules that he chooses to live by. All of a sudden, he's full of Curzon, who says, "Throw those things away. Let's go. Let's see what this baby can do." And I just thought that was fascinating, and I thought they did a really good job with it. I thought it was wonderful the way they portrayed that character. I didn't like Kira's performance once again.
No.
Yeah, she was the only one of the lot who disappointed me, and I just thought that was very mechanical. Once again she was trying to act, and once again it was disappointing.
Yeah, I found she was very motherly.
Yeah,
and I think that's what she was supposed to be.
Yeah, maybe so. It may be that I'm just so turned off to her that I can't be, even-handed about her anymore.
And
I hate the sight of Kara. Fuck Kara.
Dax Orion is asking, wouldn't Jadzia have known that he loved her, that Curzon loved her?
Yeah.
I think part of the reason that this ceremony takes place is to learn things about, because even when you do the thing, like even when you're joined, you go through you have to be psychologically sound, right? You have to, you can't just be blathering about it and about your emotions and have them flooding your mind and everything like that, right? So maybe in order to be a good mentor to Jadzia, he compartmentalized those things, and when they were joined, Dax is saying love is a powerful emotion, though I would imagine it's hard to hide. Well, that's true, but you have to be almost, I would say almost Vulcan with your control of emotion. I don't think that they don't feel their emotions, but I would think that if you are going to be a joined Trill, you would need to be in very tight control of your psychological makeup.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think it would be cool to exist with another being like that inside you?
Yeah.
Me too.
No.
I think that would be absolutely fucking awesome.
Hammer, you say no?
I mean,
no.
love the concept. Why don't you like it?
I like me. I'm fine with just me.
Hey, I'm fine with me too.
I don't want anybody else in my head.
But I think it could be some fun.
Or a nightmare.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be the same thing as mind-altering drugs. It's like, I'm okay by myself. I don't need any of that other stuff. I'm fine the way I am. The same way with taking a chance on my mental welfare just to try to experience something new. It's along the same lines. I'm not.
You used to ask me why I jumped out of airplanes. So.
What about you, IP?
Oh yeah, what would you think? All right, would you like to have a Trill host?
Oh,
or a symbiote?
I don't know, man. The idea of I don't know.
I mean, I sort of had that with my very first marriage.
Yeah.
You had a symbiote for a wife?
It wasn't good. That was the nightmare that Hammer's talking about.
That's funny.
It joined a religious cult and abandoned me, fortunately. So.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So what did you guys think about this episode? I kind of went over what I really liked about it. Were there any things that you guys didn't like that you did like?
I like that it was an actor's episode. Kind of like Masks was, where everyone got to play a different part than they normally play on the show.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. It didn't really... there wasn't any phasers, there wasn't any warp drive, which is something that's overall a problem with DS9 for me. But in this episode, it just seemed very. It was great that it was the actors got to play other characters, but that's
Mhm.
all this episode was character acting. That was
Yeah.
it. So it seemed kind of one-dimensional in that respect. Somebody needs to punch somebody. Somebody needs to fire a phaser. Somebody needs to do something. But just everybody talking to each other the entire show. I could be watching Days of Our Lives, you know?
Yeah.
Mm. See, the dialogue-driven thing doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like the quality of dialogue in places. It wasn't a horrible episode. I don't know, man. I like this fucking series. So I just,
I liked it. I don't want to get the wrong impression here. I liked the episode.
No, I'm not. Yeah,
It just didn't feel very Star Trek-ish to me.
Mm. It was more about the trill, and exploring that that idea of having to have another being inside of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Dag says, well, there was some conflict with Curzon and Jadzia, right? But I need a running firefight with phasers or somebody launching photon torpedoes for me for it to be a Star Trek show. So, like I said, it's not that it was bad. I enjoyed the episode, but it just didn't. It wasn't very exciting. It was just kind of like, that's nice. Okay.
One thing about this, you remember the host Duran?
Yeah.
Was Cisco. When Cisco came back, I found myself doubting that he was really back for a few minutes. Until I realized, no, they've moved on from that plot arc. They're not covering that anymore. He's not going to come back and it was really still Duran. Duran was still in control, and they could have taken that in a very interesting place where Cisco and Duran are fighting for control, and Duran is so powerful that he starts to cause mayhem on the station. Through Cisco, and
that would have been interesting. And I was with you. I thought for a few minutes, I was like, is he really gone?
Yes. Yeah. So that was something that occurred to me with Duran. And the other thing that I thought about this was I felt like I didn't get enough of any, except for Kyrus, of the actors. I want this thing probably to be a two-parter. I mean, I really, really, really liked this episode, and I could have watched a lot more of this.
Yeah, it could have been a two-parter.
No.
Yeah, especially with the conflicts of I don't want to go back into like the Curzon Odo thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry that you can't see this, but I loved the Curzon Odo face. The change because Odo's face changes. It becomes thinner, better defined. The nose becomes more prominent. It becomes much more human looking than Odo does. And so I like that.
Very cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's and they made a comment about it, kind of a sideways, a sideways allusion to it, but it wasn't really very clear if that's what they were referring to. He said something about the nose gives me away or something.
So yeah, I really loved Facets. I thought it was like there's a more of a personal reason that I like this episode, but I don't know. It resonates with me. It's just it's a very interesting look. I think Star Trek looks into and explores the concept of multiple personalities very, very well.
Yes, I would agree with you. Oh, one other thing about this episode, I like Nog.
I like Nog too.
Yeah.
At first, I really didn't like Nog.
Yeah,
That's when I started thinking about the Umox thing. Was there with him?
no, he's
I like his character.
At first, I hated Nog.
Really?
At first, I was like, okay, I want Wesley back. Somebody just fucking shut this kid up. But
he grows on you, doesn't he?
He grows on you. He really does grow on you.
Yeah. And I think of him as my anti-Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as like a Wesley with kind of a believable personality. He's just got so much spirit, and I believe him better.
Somebody who has to work.
Yes. Because
Wesley was always doing schoolwork, yeah, but he never had to.
Wesley's a fucking snowflake.
Right? Like, he always makes you think that he has to, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to study hard. He does it because he likes to. Okay? Nog has to work at it.
And he sweats stuff, you know. Am I going to pass this test? And I've got to get into this camp so I can improve my reaction time another 5% so I can take the admission test into Starfleet Academy. You know, kid's got a goal and he is going to go for it. And the other thing was his evil uncle sabotaging the test, and then his father coming up and saying, "I will burn your bar to the ground."
Yeah. Nog is straight up. He's like, I want to get into this, and you will not, like. And Rom, I love how Rom just sticks up for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rom kicked ass. Yeah.
Rom's great.
So I like that. I will, you get in his way again. I will burn your bar to the ground.
I just never could. I don't know what the word is to use. I could never make the jump to the Ferengis. For some reason, the only Ferengis I ever liked were the original Ferengis. The ones that were using laser whips.
Yeah.
From, what was that?
Yeah.
The Guardian or something
Last
like that?
Outpost.
Last Outpost,
yeah.
Those were cool Ferengi. They were like little miniature raptors. You know, they were just vicious, and, the Ferengis that we get to know that seem to be the most common Ferengis just seem very, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I just could never like them. I just feel that they could have been a lot more complicated and a lot more specific, but they're just money hungry greed mongers, and that's it. There's nothing else to them.
I think Dax Orion. He says, I didn't like Jake. I couldn't get into his character. I'm with you. Yeah. I think Jake is your typical army brat.
Yeah.
Who doesn't
give a dumbass dashiki looking thing.
Well, and he doesn't give a shit about how much his dad bust his ass for him. How much he loves him. Like the episode where they first meet the Jem'Hadar, when Sisko works his ass off to get time off to take Jake for a planetary survey so that he could do more than just some stupid little science fair bullshit project for school. And also spend time with them. And Jake's like, "Oh yeah, I'm also bringing Nog."
Yeah, he wasn't written very well. I don't think the actor did a very good job as an actor either. So I wasn't really a big fan of his.
Pretty vanilla actor.
Yeah. See, but on the other hand, I kind of like Kira a little bit. I think they portrayed her a little too far into her character than she should have been. She seemed like the kind of person who would stomp her feet at any little thing. But I don't wanna. That's very much how her character was written. I don't think the actress was that bad of an actress. I just think they wrote a really terrible part.
Yeah.
But I like the outfit she wore. That fit in all the right places.
Poor writing is hard to act, says Prospero. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, Terry Farrell was I mean, boy, in the
good word. boy.
Chase Masterson too.
Yeah.
She was healthy. You know what I'm saying, dude. What a sexy ass woman. Both of those
guys together. It's going to get to the women pretty soon anyway.
Sorry, I had to say something sexist.
I'm right behind you. I'm
sorry.
No doubt.
My apologies to the lady in the house, our captain.
Mr. Dax says Jake really didn't have a good goal, be a writer or / journalist. Yeah, especially in the 24th century.
You can find out anything you want to know ever at any time, at any point, because the internet is on steroids in the future. So what do you need a journalist for? To tell you his opinions?
No. But yeah, those are my 3 picks.
Should have made him a bounty hunter. That would have been awesome. Jake the bounty hunter.
Jake the bounty hunter.
Sorry.
That's funny.
String of ears on his belt.
and a big thing of spent warp cores hanging off of his bulkhead.
Oh, that's funny. Who's going after you?
I think Skeptalk said that he'd be up for going next because he has his 3 picked.
Yeah, the ones that I have picked are Trials and Tribulations, of course.
Yes.
You knew that I would pick the triple one. And In the Pale Moonlight, which is, by the way, Trials and Tribulations is season 5, the 6th episode. In the Pale Moonlight, which is the 6th season, 19th episode.
Okay.
And also, my dark horse pick is Far Beyond the Stars, which is also 6th season, 13th episode.
Okay.
These are well into these represent kind of the furthest reaches of my exploration into the series. So, but these are some that I really like.
Yeah, I was a little scared when I started looking at the episodes that Blind Press picked because it was like season 1.
Season 1, I know.
Oh, I don't know if I want to watch this, but it was a good episode. It was a good pick.
All of them were good.
Oh, don't worry. I wouldn't have made you watch Hop Along, Move Along Home, on the Rain.
Marine.
We're going to have fun discussing Trials and Tribulations.
I think we are.
That's gonna be one of the most fun discussions
we have,
I think. So anyway, get ready next week. Strap in.
So that's next Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, if you guys are up and about tonight, 11:30 Eastern, Minions of the Zoo is happening. And I think it's Rejects Night.
We don't know who's hosting.
We don't know who's... Yeah.
Dax, you think he'll make it next week?
I'm just teasing.
While he's in chat, I think I better ask.
Dax said he should be able to make it next week. We were talking in DMs.
Cool.
A $5. Good deal.
The stream is over. God damn it, says Jack Densky. Yeah, we go live at 5, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, did you put Dax in our Twitter group? Did you add
I will add. I'm gonna add Dax to the Twitter group so that I don't have to keep messaging 2 different.
There you go. I was just gonna suggest that. Yeah.
And of course tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, Pincalo and I will be back for the Blind and the Special. That's always a good time. And I want to also thank Moderator Marcy again for the donation. That was very, very, very kind of you. And I want to thank my panel for chatting with me and chat for listening. It's always fun.
Are you still doing the coffee stream, BP?
I am.
Oh, what is that?
12 Eastern, Monday to Friday.
Oh, very nice.
The stream has ended. Go now in peace, says Pirate Pete. Yes. Yes, exactly. Go now in peace.
Go and sin no more.
Yeah. Masses ended. Go in peace.
And Irate, you have Doc Griffin on tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's right. Good old Doc. Finally, we're going to sit down and we're going to shoot the shit and talk about. I think we're going to explore his importance to his local scene. as a journalist, musician. He was part of the music scene. He was part of this wrestling thing. So I kind of want to get in and talk about that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time. And that's at 5 Eastern, right?
Howdy.
All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, guys, for watching, and we will catch you all later. Have a great evening, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I should have shielded my